morning. Today is August 21st, 2020. It's your 8th day of school and it is Friday. Okay, so the reason why, guys, we are going to have a very short day today, and I will tell you how we're going to have a short day and how we're going to kind of switch it up, is because yesterday my cat decided to use my teacher computer charger as a chew toy yesterday. And so now I don't have a charger for my computer. So my computer is pretty much on 0.5%. So we wouldn't be able to do the full long class time because my computer will die. Okay? And so Mrs. Nagy ordered another charger, hopefully coming tomorrow. But yes, I saw red. I was ready to murder my cat when I saw him chewing on my computer charger. Okay? So the way that today is going to be different, I'll talk about it during the schedule, but Mrs. Nagy is going to be a lot faster today, okay? So we're really not going to take breaks, and it's okay. It's a good thing, and I'll show you why today we're not going to really take breaks. We're going to try to get through it, because you'll see when I tell you the schedule. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to bust it out, and we're going to do... I'm totally going haywire today. Sorry. Let's greet Mrs. Nagy first, okay? All right, Noah, you want to greet me? Good morning, Noah. Gabriella, would you like to greet me? Air hug. Okay, thank you, Gabriella. Kane? Good morning, Kane. Jamarcus? Good morning, Jamarcus. Amani? Mwah. Good morning, Amani. Ashlyn? And Connor. Oh, good morning, Connor. Thank you for the hug. Emily. Good morning, Emily. Quentin. Good morning, Quentin. And Cervantes. Good morning, Cervantes. Sorry, I'm all over the place because I'm trying to get through this really fast before Mrs. Nagy's computer dies. I can't tell you how mad I am at my cat. Okay, Gabriella, you will be doing greeting of the day. Our greeting of the day is air hug. Okay, so we're going to do an air hug. And you don't have to mute your mic or unmute your mic for this. You're just going to show me air hug. Okay, Gabriella, air hug. Good morning, Gabriella. Good job. Noah, air hug. Good morning. Kane, air hug. Good morning. Jamarcus, air hug. Good morning. Amani, air hug. Good morning. Ashlyn, air hug. Good job. Connor, air hug. Thank you for the hug. Emily, air hug. Thank you. Quentin, air hug. Good job. Cervantes, air hug. Thank you, buddy. And Wilfred, air hug. Thank you. Today, right now, we will do Marvin. Let's see who gets Marvin. Batman. Ashlyn. Ashlyn, you got a pet? No? You want to unmute your mic and tell us which pet you would love your parent to buy you?
A dog.
A dog. Do you want a girl or a boy dog?
A boy.
Boy, what would you name it? Do you know what name you'd give it? No? Is there a reason why you would like a dog? Like, why would you want a dog? Why would that be your dream pet?
So I can play with it.
Okay. All right. Does anyone want to ask Ashlyn a question about her dream pet? Gabriella, you may ask Ashlyn a question.
Do you want your dream dog to be a golden retriever?
Oh, I love those dogs. So what type of dog would you like? Would you like a golden retriever, one of them tiny little dogs, a Rottweiler? Which one would you like?
The big one.
The big ones? I'm scared of big dogs. I'm not gonna lie. I like little puppies. Jamarcus and then Cervantes. So Jamarcus, you can ask your question.
A tall dog is like a pit bull thing.
Yeah, kind of like the big dogs. It's not only pit bulls. You could have like a greyhound is huge. You know those really tall greyhounds that are scary. They're as tall as me. And Cervantes, and if we have time, we'll take Quentin's. Go ahead, Cervantes, and ask Ashlyn a question.
Would you spray paint your dog?
Would you would you spray paint your dog?
No.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for allowing Ashlyn to do her pet. We will now move into question of the day. Batman. Connor, you got question of the day. So Mrs. Nagy's going to pull out the question. She'll answer first to kind of give you an idea, and then you get to go first. So our question of the day is, what do you like to eat or drink on a cold winter's night? That's easy. Coffee. I love coffee. Okay, Connor, what would you drink or eat on a cold winter night?
I would eat cheese pizza and drink very hot coffee.
Awesome. All right, Noah, what would you eat or drink on a cold winter's night?
I would eat spaghetti and meatballs and some hot cocoa.
Spaghetti
With
meatball
marshmallows.
and hot cocoa. Cool, that sounds delicious. Gabriella, what would you eat or drink on a cold winter's night?
I'd eat French toast and I'd drink hot cocoa.
There we go. That sounds delicious. Thank you. Kane, what would you eat or drink on a cold winter's night?
I would have hot cocoa and some marshmallows.
There we go. That sounds delicious. Thank you, Kane. Jamarcus, what would you have or eat or drink on like a really cold winter night? There we go.
I would just drink some, like, a cup of water and eat some pizza rolls.
Okay. All right. Water's always good for you. Thank you, Jamarcus. Amani, what would you eat or drink on a cold winter's night?
I would have cookies and milk.
Cookies and milk. Okay. Thank you. Ashlyn?
Candy.
Candy?
And some hot cocoa.
There we go. Candy and hot cocoa. So just a lot of chocolate. Thank you, Ashley. Quentin, what would you eat or drink on a cold winter's night?
I would eat hot Cheetos and some hot cocoa.
Man, I love what are they called? Flaming Cheetos, something like that. Man, I don't like spicy stuff, but I will eat a whole bag of that. Okay, thank you, Quentin. Cervantes, what would you eat or drink on a cold winter's night?
I will eat some pizza rolls and some hot chocolate with marshmallows on it.
Ooh, delicious. Okay, thank you, Cervantes. And finally, Wilfred, what would you eat or drink on a cold winter's night?
Cocoa and some other stuff.
Okay, thank you, Wilfred. And I'll say something. I'm actually surprised none of you mentioned, what are they called? Takis? Okay, don't unmute yourself. Don't unmute yourself except for Noah. But I'll tell you one thing. Takis are the most disgusting thing I have ever eaten in my life, okay? 2 years ago, on the last day of school, I let all the kids bring in whatever snacks they wanted. And one of my students bring in like this purple bag of Takis and then this white bag of Takis. I had to spit it out because it was so nasty. I don't know why you guys like those, okay? Gross. All right, Noah, go ahead, and then we'll move on to schedule, and I'll tell you how our day is different, okay? Go ahead, Noah.
The question was, did your cat get electrocuted?
No. I was just sitting there, chilling, snuggling with my babies, and then I heard this weird noise, and then I look, and he's just using my charger as a chew toy, and I let out the craziest scream. I think my next door neighbor must have thought someone was killing me because I was so mad. But thank you, Noah. Okay, guys, so we're going to go into the schedule, and I'm going to show you how today is going to be different and what is expected of you and why we won't be taking breaks, okay? Today's schedule is 8 o'clock. We'll be completing our morning meeting, so we're almost done with that. After the schedule, we'll do our pledge and the poem of the week. And if you notice right here, we would have taken a break. We would have come back and had done spelling. But you're going to notice right here, I have the spelling down below, and I'll show you why in a minute, okay? So after poem of the week, we will move straight into our reading block. After our reading block, we will read our 1.5 pages of Old Yeller. And then we won't really do our final thoughts today because we're not going to have a full day. But you're going to notice that Miss Nagy on the schedule doesn't have math. She doesn't have the writing prompt. And she doesn't have the spelling. The reason why is because around 9 o'clock, about 9:30, we're going to be done. And your job is to do 10 minutes of Some Dog or Prodigy, whichever you choose, at home. It is your job to write your writing prompt today while you're at home and then submit it because it will be graded on this Sunday. You'll be getting your first grades this week. And then your spelling, 10 minutes of spelling at home, okay? So pretty much what we do in the classroom, you're just going to do at home, okay? Because you guys got this. You already know how to do it. But what I will do, guys, if I have enough juice in my computer, when I go home, I'll open up one of these meetings. And if you need me, which I highly doubt, but if you need me, you can join if I open it up. If I don't, you can always send me an email from your Google account, okay? All right, so to recap that, today for class, we will just be doing our reading and our Old Yeller. And your writing, spelling, and math you will do at home, okay? So make sure that you do your writing prompt and you press in that turn-in button because come Sunday, Mrs. Nagy is going to give you your first grades. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on now into pledge. Okay, we're going to move into pledge. So, echo, okay? Everyone, please turn on your mics. All right, good job. In Mrs. Nagy's class.
In Mrs. Nagy's class.
Okay, good. We use kind words.
We use kind words
And work quietly.
and work quietly.
We work hard.
We work hard
And help.
and help.
We are kind,
We are kind,
happy,
happy,
and respectful.
and respectful.
We respect our classroom
We respect our classroom
and always keep it clean.
and always keep it clean.
We are a great classroom.
We are a great classroom.
Awesome, guys. Okay, mute your mic. All right, so this is our final reading of the poem of the week, and then next week you will have an entirely different poem. I didn't do it. I've heard you can't get in trouble for something you didn't do. My mother said that was correct. My teacher confirmed it was true. I'm guessing they must not have meant it. Imagine my shock and dismay to find out I was in trouble for not doing my homework today. Okay, guys, so what I'm going to do now, and bear with me because I am trying to move a little bit fast, okay? Because my computer is... All right, so what we'll do now is we'll be moving into our reading block. And today's story is called Red, okay? So Miss Nagy is going to go into our reading. And then remember, when you do your spelling, your writing, and your math, you could just go into Google Classroom and you could just click on the links when you're home. Okay, so our story today is called Red. And our question is, have you ever pretended to be someone you're not because you wanted to be cool or because someone told you you had to be a certain way?
Yes. One day, when I was playing Adopt Me, I got super unlucky and someone scammed me. So I pretended to be someone else I wasn't.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gabriella, for sharing. Amani, you want to share about a time when you pretended to be something you weren't or was acting like someone told you should be acting? Go ahead.
So someone told me to be sassy, so I did. And I got in trouble.
Ooh, someone told you to be sassy. Okay, does anyone else want to share about a time when they pretended to be something they weren't? Okay, so now Mrs. Nagy is going to share before we watch our video. When Mrs. Nagy was in high school, there was always the group of like popular girls, and they were just, they dressed well, they were very pretty. And I thought that I wanted to be like that. So I went out and bought like a ton of dresses and skirts and heels. And I would wake up 2 hours early just to do my hair and my makeup. And then after like 2 weeks to a month, I just realized I was so unhappy. And it was because I was pretending to be someone I wasn't, because deep down inside, Mrs. Nagy is like 100% a tomboy. She wears jeans, sneakers, t-shirt, and her hair is always up. And I don't even own a dress now. I don't own heels or a single piece of makeup. So that was the time when Mrs. Nagy was trying to be something or someone that she definitely wasn't. So we will move into our video. And once again, our video is called Red. And it's the story of this crayon. And you'll see, I really, really love this. Well, I love all of them. Every single day I'm like, oh, I love this and I love that one. All right, so I know I don't have to do a mic check because you guys pretty much can always hear it. But I made sure to share their screen.
Red, a Crayon Story by Michael Hall. Read by the students and staff of Emmanuel Elementary.
As told by me, he was red. But he wasn't very good at it.
Oh dear.
His teacher thought he needed more practice.
I'll draw a red strawberry, then you draw a red strawberry. You can do this, really.
But he couldn't really.
Like this?
Oh my. Let's try again.
His mother thought he needed to mix with other colors.
Why don't you two go out and draw a nice round orange?
A really big one. A really orange one.
But they made a big greenish one.
Yuck. Oops.
His grandparents thought he wasn't warm enough.
Your class is making self-portraits for Parents' Night. Wear this warm red scarf.
Nice. It's so you.
But it so wasn't.
Oh, dear me.
Everyone seemed to have something to say.
Sometimes I wonder if he's really red at all.
Don't be silly. It says red on his label.
He came that way from the factory.
Frankly, I don't think he's very bright.
Well, I think he's lazy.
Right. He's got to press harder.
Really apply himself.
Give him time. He'll catch on.
Of course he will.
But he didn't catch on.
Green frog.
Brown cow.
Black sheep.
Red. Ack.
All the art supplies wanted to help. The masking tape thought he was broken inside.
This will help hold you together.
The scissors thought his label was too tight.
One snip should do it.
I thought he wasn't sharp enough. Stay still now. But even with all our help and all his hard work, he just couldn't get the hang of it. One day, he met a new friend.
Would you make a blue ocean for my boat?
I can't. I'm red.
Oh, you try?
So he did.
Thank you. It's perfect.
You're welcome. It was easy.
And he didn't stop there.
Bluebells, bluebird, blueberries, blue jeans, blue whale. I'm blue.
He was red, blue, and everyone was talking.
My son is brilliant.
Who could have known he was blue?
I always said he was blue.
It was obvious.
His blue ocean really lifted me.
All of his work makes me happy.
His blue strawberries are my favorites. He's so intense.
I'm going to make a green lizard with him. A really big one.
I hear he's working on a huge new project.
He's really reaching for the sky.
And he really was.
Isn't it a beautiful day?
It's perfect.
Okay, guys, so that was our story today. So who wants to share about what our video was about? Quinton, would you like to go?
They dressed him up and he was actually blue, but they dressed him up as red.
Yeah, so he had like the wrong label.
He was blue. He got dressed up. And one of my favorite parts when this guy said yuck.
Oh, with the orange, because we know that yellow and red mixed together makes orange. So they were, trying to make him be red, but he wasn't red, he was blue. And what does yellow and blue make? Green.
So, to me, I thought that the story was about how everybody thought he was some type of color, but he wasn't. He was always different than what all the others expected. So I think that the moral of the story was that everybody can think you're normal, but you're always different.
Okay, I like that. That was deep. Thank you, Gabriella. Kane, did you want to share? Because I kind of saw your hand go up.
They thought he wasn't that good at drawing because he wasn't red.
Yeah, so they thought that he wasn't talented because they said he was red when they didn't even realize that he was not red, he was blue. So our story, and this happens so much in school that it breaks my heart. Not just from the kids labeling students, but teachers labeling students as well. So if you notice from our story, our little blue crayon was very, very sad because he was trying to be red because everyone was projecting that he was red when he was blue. But when he eventually realized he was blue, he became happy because he stopped trying to be something that he wasn't. And what I mean by labeling is in school, a lot of students can label another student different beyond themselves, and some labels can make other people think a certain way of someone. So for example, if a group of students label another student weird or mean or anything like that, if another new student comes into the building and they hear this label, they're going to think, oh, I don't want to play with them. And another sad thing is that teachers tend to label students as well. And what I mean by that is it's very common for teachers from last year to come to new teachers and say, oh, this student is a headache and this student is way behind, and it can make the new teacher not have a bright outlook on the student. So what I try to do is I try to ignore all those labels, and when I get my new students, I just like to build a community with you guys. That's why we do question of the day, because I want to learn you. I don't want to learn anything about you from anyone else, okay? So to sum up, our story is about being true to yourself. Don't try to be something you're not, okay? And also don't label other people something that they are not, okay? Okay, Connor, and then we will move on to our final question for our reading.
It kind of sounds sick.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but it's a fact of life. As human beings, we're very observant, and we look at people, and based off of their behaviors, their mannerisms, the way they act, we generally create kind of like a judgment or belief of them. And sometimes our beliefs about these people are not really who they are, okay? A matter of fact, it could be reversed. Students can go to other students and tell them, oh, you got Mrs. Nagy? Oh, she's mean. You're going to have a horrible time next year. Okay? So students tend to bad talk teachers as well. But imagine if a student came up to you and said, oh, Mrs. Nagy is horrible, she's mean, she gets too much homework, and you come into the school year thinking that I'm awful. Does anyone think I'm awful yet? Okay, so you see? So try to...
I never think you're awful.
Thank you, Gabriella. So that's the thing. Don't judge anyone, okay? That's simply what we're talking about, and just be true to yourself. All right, so we're going to go over our last question after our videos. And our last question is, how can we stay true to ourselves? How can we make sure that we're not pretending to be something we're not just to be cool? Or pretending to be something that we're not because someone tells us we have to be a certain way. I know this one is kind of tricky, but what are some ways that we can make sure that we're being true to ourselves? Would anyone like to share? Amani and then Gabriella.
So let's say someone told you to, be sassy, be mean. And you're going to say, no, that's not good to be sassy.
Yeah, so that's one way. Like if you're a really, really nice person and someone says, you're too nice, you need to be a little bit more sassy, you can tell them, no, I like being nice. That's who I am. If you're okay with being mean, that's on you. I'm going to be nice.
Yes.
Okay.
One way we can be true to ourselves is like when we are doing something that we like,
Mm-hmm.
And someone says, hey, I don't like that. Don't do that. We can say, well, it's my life and you're not the boss of me.
I like that. I know a lot of people. Oh, man, I can tell you. Thank you, Gabriella. You can mute your mic. Gabriella brings up a very important thing. I had a couple of friends growing up, and they had like these hobbies. For example, I had a friend who was amazing at painting, and he wanted to go and be an artist, right? But his dad was like, artists don't make any money. That's not a career. You need to get a desk job. And it was very sad because he ended up listening to his dad and he got a desk job. And for many years, he was depressed because he wasn't doing what was true to him. And then eventually he was like, no, I'm done with this. I'm going to follow my dream and I'm going to be true to myself. And he ended up quitting his desk job and going to art school, and he's a painter now. So it's very important to be true to yourself. All right, thank you guys. We are now going to move on to our final thing of the day, and then we will have a recap. So yesterday in Old Yeller, we read all of chapter 2, and we pretty much read about him finally meeting Old Yeller, the dog. And so we're going to read a little bit now in chapter 3, and then we'll be done for the day. I know it was a very short day today. All right. I was willing to go back. I was willing to go make a try for a fat doe. Remember, a fat doe is just like a deer. I was generally more than willing to go hunting, and while I was gone, I might do some thinking about little Arliss and that thieving stray dog. But I didn't much think my thinking would take the turn Mama wanted. I went and milked the cows and brought the milk in for Mama to strain. I got my rifle and went out to the lot and caught Jumper. I tied a rope around his neck, half hitched. Remember, Jumper is just his donkey, the one who doesn't like to work. I tied a rope around his neck, half hitched, a noose around his nose, and pinched the rest of the rope across his back. This was the rope I'd reined him with. Then I got him a second rope and tied it tight around his middle, just back of his withers. Okay, this second rope I'd use to tie my deer onto Jumper's back if I got one. Papa had shown me how to tie a deer's feet together and pack it home across my shoulder, and I'd done it. But to carry a deer very far like that was a sweat-popping job that I'd rather leave to Jumper. He was bigger and stronger. I mounted Jumper bareback and rode him along Birdsong Creek and across a rocky hog-back ridge. I thought how fine it would be if I was riding my own horse instead of an old mule. I rode down a long, sweeping slope where a scattering of huge, ragged-topped live oaks stood about in grass so tall that it dragged against the underside of Jumper's belly. I rode to within a quarter of a mile of the salt licks, then left Jumper tied in a thicket and went on foot. I couldn't take Jumper close to the licks for a couple of reasons. In the first place, he'd get to swishing his tail and stomping his feet at flies and maybe scare off my game. Game just means the animal that they're hunting. On top of that, he was gun shy. Fire a gun close to Jumper and he'd fall to staves. He'd snort and wheel to run and fall back against his tie rope, trying to break it loose. He'd bawl and paw the air and take on like he'd been shot. When it came to gunfire, Jumper didn't have any more sense than a red ant in a hot skillet. It was a fine morning for hunting, with the air still and the rising sun shining bright on the tall green grass and the greener leaves of the timber. There wasn't enough breeze blowing for me to tell the wind direction, so I licked the finger and held it up. Sure enough, the side next to me cooled first. That meant that what little push there was to the air was away from me, toward the salt licks, which wouldn't do at all. No deer would come to the licks if he caught wind of me first. Okay, so that's our reading today. We won't really recap the reading. I'll just remind you what it was because it was very short. So the reading of Old Yeller today was he just went out because his mom was like, okay, this dog ate up all our meat, so now you got to go out and hunt for a deer so we could get more meat. And so he was like, okay. And on his way to get more meat, he took his rifle and he took Jumper, his donkey, and he just checked the wind. He was going to see if any deer were coming his way. So that was our reading for today. So we're going to kind of recap because we're going to be done now. It's a very, very early day. We only did 1 hour. So just remember that after our meeting, okay, you will, and you can take all day. You don't have to immediately do it the moment we finish our meeting. But you pretty much will go and do your 10 minutes of spelling and then your 10 minutes of your choice of some dog or prodigy. You can do whatever you want. And then your main assignment, guys, is to make sure that you do the writing prompt and turn that in, okay? But you have all day. And with the writing prompt, you have up until Sunday because Mrs. Nagy's going to go into Google Classroom and she's going to grade you guys come Sunday, okay? All right, guys. So other than that, this was a short meeting today. I'm so sorry I didn't have enough time to hang out with you guys on this Friday. Make sure on Monday you come to class with paper, pencil, and your math and your reading textbook. Okay, wonderful Friday. I will see you Monday at 8 o'clock. All right, bye, guys.
Bye, Mrs.